Hello, little dreamers, and welcome to our story corner. Snuggle in tight, close your eyes, and let's travel to a magical forest, far, far away. In the heart of this forest, nestled under the biggest, oldest oak tree, lived Barnaby, a very large and very sleepy bear. Barnaby wasn't just any bear. He was the guardian of the seasons. Every spring, it was his job to wake up and give a great, big, booming roar that would tell the snow to melt, the flowers to bloom, and the sun to shine a little brighter. But this year, something was different. Barnaby was in a super-duper deep sleep, and no matter what, he wouldn't wake up. The forest was getting worried. The little streams were still frozen, the daffodils were shyly hiding underground, and the birds who had flown back for spring were shivering in the chilly air. The strongest animals tried to wake him. Boris the boar rammed the tree with his mighty tusks. Thump, thump. But Barnaby just snored a little louder. Fiona the falcon swooped down and tickled his nose with her softest feather. But Barnaby just wiggled his nose and kept on dreaming. Nothing was working. Living at the edge of the forest were two very unlikely friends. First, there was Leo, a tiny lion cub who had gotten lost from a traveling circus. Leo had a very big heart, but his roar, well, it was more of a squeak. He practiced every day, trying to sound fierce like the big lions, but all that came out was a little meep. His best friend was Willow, a teeny-tiny field mouse. Willow was so quiet and shy that sometimes the other animals didn't even notice she was there. She spoke in whispers, so soft you'd have to lean in close to hear. Leo and Willow heard about the problem with Barnaby the bear. They saw the worried faces of the rabbits and the sad, drooping branches of the willow trees. Leo puffed out his chest. "I will wake him," he declared, trying to make his voice sound brave. "I have a roar, a lion's roar." Willow looked at her friend. "Oh, Leo," she whispered gently. "The big, strong animals have already tried. How can we possibly wake him?" "We have to try, Willow," Leo said with determination. "The forest needs us." So the two tiny friends set off on their big adventure. They tiptoed past the grumpy badger's den and hopped over the still icy brook. It was a long journey for such little legs, but they held hands, well, paw and paw, the whole way. Finally, they reached the giant oak tree, and there he was. Barnaby the bear. He was bigger than they had ever imagined, like a furry, snoring mountain. Leo took a deep, deep breath, puffed out his chest as big as it would go, and let out the mightiest roar he could muster. "Meep!" he squeaked. The sound was so small it was almost swallowed by the huge forest. Barnaby didn't even twitch an ear. Leo's face fell. He tried again, even louder. "Meep!" Still nothing. His shoulders slumped, and a little tear rolled down his furry cheek. "It's no use," he sighed. "I'm not a real lion. My roar is just a silly squeak." Willow patted his paw gently. "Your roar is perfect, Leo," she whispered. "It's your roar. But maybe a roar isn't what Barnaby needs to hear." She looked at the giant sleeping bear. She remembered her grandma telling her that sometimes the softest sound is the most powerful, because you have to listen very, very carefully to hear it. Willow had an idea. She scurried up the rough bark of the oak tree, all the way up to Barnaby's giant furry ear. It looked like a big, fuzzy cave to her. She took a tiny breath and whispered the kindest, gentlest words she could think of. "Wake up, dear Barnaby," she whispered softly. "The flowers are waiting to see you. The little bees have honey for you. The sun has missed you and wants to warm your fur. We all need you, our friend." Her whisper was as soft as a falling petal, as quiet as a growing mushroom. But it traveled right into Barnaby's big ear, past all the loud snores, and deep into his dreaming mind. Down on the ground, Leo watched, holding his breath. Suddenly, the giant bear's snoring stopped. One of his huge eyelids fluttered open, then the other. Barnaby blinked, looking around sleepily. He stretched one giant paw, then another, and let out a huge yawn that shook the leaves on the tree. He looked down and saw the tiny mouse sitting by his ear, and the little lion cub looking up at him with wide, hopeful eyes. Barnaby smiled a big, sleepy bear smile. He had heard the whisper. It had reminded him of his important job. He stood up on his hind legs, took the deepest breath he had taken all year, and let out a roar. It wasn't a scary roar, but a happy, booming, joyful roar that echoed through the entire forest. Roar! And just like that, magic happened. The sun peeked from behind the clouds, shining brightly. The ice on the streams began to crackle and melt. You could almost hear the little flower buds underground stretching and yawning, getting ready to pop out and say hello. Spring had finally arrived. All the animals in the forest cheered. They cheered for the warm sun. They cheered for the coming flowers. But most of all, they cheered for their two unlikely heroes. Leo the lion cub, whose brave heart was bigger than any roar, and Willow the mouse, whose gentle whisper had the power to wake up a whole new season. Leo learned that it doesn't matter if your roar is big or small, as long as it comes from a brave and caring heart. And Willow learned that even the quietest voice can make the biggest difference in the world. From that day on, the lion cub with the squeak and the mouse with the whisper were celebrated as the true heroes of the forest. They proved that you don't have to be the biggest or the loudest to change the world. Sometimes all you need is a little bit of courage and a whole lot of kindness. And now, my little adventurer, it's time for you to drift off to sleep, just like Barnaby the bear. May your dreams be filled with brave friends and gentle whispers. Good night, and sleep tight.